The German defense concern Rheinmetall will build a new ammunition production plant to cover the needs of the armed forces of Germany and Ukraine. According to the Director General of the company, there is productive cooperation between the German federal government and the arms industry.
A lot has changed for the better in military procurement. Rheinmetall alone received orders or framework agreements worth over 10 billion euros from the federal government last year for the Bundeswehr and for Ukraine. This year, this sum will increase to at least 15 billion. The pace is fast. What would have taken 10 years in the past is now completed in a few months. Armin Papage, CEO of Rheinmetall, Bild publication reports.
Ukraine is making efforts to bring its armed forces to the standards of NATO. This is stated in the report of the American Institute for the Study of War. According to the US Department of Defense, Ukraine has implemented more than 18 NATO standards in the last 2 months alone.
In some issues, we are moving to the standards that NATO countries use, but once again, this is not caliber weapons. This is a system of relationships between military personnel, between commanders and subordinates, and a system for building an army structure. This is the main thing that is meant by the words NATO standards.
Growing global instability and Russian aggression against Ukraine have led to increased demand for American weapons. US military sales grew 16% in 2023, reaching a record $238 billion. This was reported by the US State Department.
The popularity of American weapons has increased thanks to, no matter how sad it may sound, Russia's war against Ukraine. Many types of weapons are used by our military forces, and they have shown their superiority over Russian offensive weapons. Accordingly, the popularity of Russian weapons has decreased. We have already read reports that India seems to have refused certain types of Russian weapons that it planned to buy.
US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg met at the Pentagon, where they discussed a number of issues, including support for Ukraine. They noted the critical importance of rapidly ramping up defense production to continue supporting Ukraine and resupplying ammunition and equipment.
And the war is now nearing the 2-year mark. The situation on the battlefield is challenging, but NATO allies are providing unprecedented support to Ukraine, and it is important that we continue to do so. Our support to Ukraine is not charity, it is an investment in our own security, because the world will become more dangerous if President Putin wins in Ukraine, and this is also closely watched in China and Beijing, so that makes it even more important that we continue to support Ukraine.
Reuters reported that European Union leaders at their summit on February 1st will reaffirm their determination to continue to provide timely, predictable and sustainable military support to Ukraine. The main topic of the summit in Brussels will be reaching an agreement on the financial assistance package for Ukraine worth 50 billion euros over 4 years, which was blocked by Hungary at the previous summit in December. Reported by Yulia Bil, Halina Babenko, UATV News.